It is a big day for families across the country as the expanded child tax credit kicks in. That means monthly payments of up to $300 per child for qualifying families.
Yeah, so Q13's Brandi Kruse is here. Brandi, this is a result of the American Rescue Plan.
Yeah, so the White House says for our state, this is going to impact about 750,000 families, and that includes more than 1 million kids who will get those payments starting today. For most of you, if you qualify, it's just going to be automatic. But we'll talk a little bit more about what to do if you're not sure whether you qualify or not. But first, I want to bring in Congresswoman Suzane Delbene of our state, who is sort of a lead backer of this effort. Congresswoman, good morning to you.
Good morning. Great to be here.
So just give it to me straight. For an everyday family that qualifies for this, what impact do you think it'll have on their lives?
This is huge. We've talked to so many families who were struggling before the pandemic to make basic payments like rent, food, be able to afford necessities like diapers. So this support makes a huge difference. It is the #1 thing we can do to address child poverty in our country. It was important before the pandemic, even more important during the pandemic. So really, this is a historic day, and checks went out. Some folks have already received their money in their bank accounts this morning.
And for those who are unsure, maybe didn't receive money today, or just seeing this, what is the best way? 'Cause it's my understanding if you file federal taxes, if you received a stimulus check, this should be automatic. But for those who are unsure, what should they do?
So the website with all the information is childtaxcredit.gov. There's questions that are answered there, as well as links to whether or not you would be eligible, so you can find that out. Make sure that you have the correct information. If they don't have direct deposit information, you may be getting a check, and the checks may take a couple days to arrive. So childtaxcredit.gov is the right place to go with any questions that people might have.
Congresswoman, you penned an op-ed in the Seattle Times calling to make this expanded benefit permanent. Can you get there? Is there the support to do that?
You know, we have strong support, and as I said, this is the #1 thing we can do to cut childhood poverty across our country. And if we make it a permanent, we'll cut child poverty in half, over 4 million children across the country being lifted out of poverty. And that only happens if we extend the child tax credit expansion that was in the American Rescue Plan. As we all know, kids don't grow up in a year or 5 years. So we have strong support, both strong Democratic majorities support in the Senate and in the House. The Speaker Pelosi has supported it. We're going to be working on this in the committee that I serve on, the Ways and Means Committee, where we'll be writing the legislation that would address this. And our Chairman Neal, has supported making the expansion permanent. So this is an ongoing effort and something we're working on right now to make sure that we really meet that goal of cutting childhood poverty and helping families for the long term, because families need to know these resources are going to be there as their kids are growing up.
Yeah, not a surprise you'd have Democratic support, but with the thin majorities, you need a few Republicans usually on board. Have you heard from any of your Republican colleagues that they'd support that?
Well, there have been Republicans who've talked about how they support the child tax credit and think that this is an important policy. This will probably be combined with other policies, and so that will be part of the challenge as we put together a package. But I think the data is clear, and we know that child poverty costs us $1.1 trillion a year right now. So doing nothing is not acceptable. Actually, if we keep the child tax credit expansion going, every dollar we invest saves us $8. So it's also a fiscally responsible thing to do, besides just having great outcomes for kids and their families.
All right, Congresswoman, I got about 30 seconds left here. Just an unrelated question. You went up to Point Roberts with the governor, right? They've been pretty isolated during the pandemic. How are they doing up there?
They're struggling. They are isolated, and we need to get the border open. I've been talking to the Canadian ambassador, to the U.S. ambassador, to Canada, Department of Homeland Security, and others. Point Roberts is over 85% vaccinated. We need to get that border open, not only to help the economy of Point Roberts, but help families get back and forth, do day-to-day tasks. It's so critically important, something I've been fighting for a long time, and I hope that folks and the governor going up there was great to bring more attention to what the folks in Point Roberts are going through.
All right, Congresswoman Suzane Delbene talked about the expansion of the child tax credit, which starts today. People should start seeing those payments. We appreciate your time this morning, and we'll track your efforts to make it permanent.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Yeah. And so, as she said, like we were saying, if you file federal taxes, if you got a stimulus check, you should already get this. Don't have to do anything if you're a qualifying family. If you don't or you're not sure, you can get more information online, childtaxcredit.gov.
Yeah, there's a lot of families that would be looking forward to that money in
Need
their
that,
bank
yeah.
account. 9:49.